We're now on page 4, and we're going to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions, so the other way around. To do that, we're going to multiply the denominator of the fraction by the whole number. Add this product, this answer to the multiplication problem, to the numerator of the fraction. And now the sum, the answer of the product plus the numerator, is the numerator of the new number, the improper fraction. And the denominator is just the same as the denominator that we started with. So, some examples. Let's take a look at 4 and 3/5. 4 and 3/5. So I'm going to multiply the denominator by the whole number. Sometimes I write it as 4 times 5. Sometimes I write it as 5 times 4. Of course, it doesn't matter. I'll go 4 times 5. Add in my numerator. All of that over the same denominator. Work through it. And I get 23/5. An improper fraction. But don't be tempted to convert it back to mixed number unless you want to check your work. Actually, that's a great way to check your work, converting it back. 5 goes into 23 4 times with 3 left over, and the 5 stays the same. So we can go back and forth. Example 2. Let's take a look at 13 and 5/6. And I'll start you off thinking about it. We have 13 holes. Each of those holes is cut into 6 equal pieces. We have 13 times 6 equal pieces, plus the 5 that we had from the partial, whatever we want to think of the partial hole. So 13 times 6 is 78, plus the 5 is 83, and the denominator stays the same. So you should end up, I'd like to see your work along here, but you should end up with 83/6. Example 3, 12 and 3/8. I'll leave this one for you to do. Feel free to pause the video and do it now, or you can do it later. But either way, write it in your notes now as 12 and 3/8. And we'll look at some special cases. Our first special case is 5, just a whole number. And if we take 5 and write it as an improper fraction, well, we need to ask ourselves, what is the part of the fractional part right here? And really it's, well, 0. We don't have any fractional parts. And how many pieces is each whole divided into? Well, in this case, really 1. We could do it in other cases or in other formats, but the easiest way to say this is 5 and 0 firsts, 5 and 0 wholes. Okay, so multiply. We get 5 times 1 plus 0 over 1, the same denominator. That's 5 over 1. Turns out we can do this with any whole number. Take any whole number, put it over 1, you've got an improper fraction. So there's 4. Example 5 is -2 and 5/7. This is a tricky one. What I would recommend doing is thinking of this as -2 and 5/7, adding the negative sign on the outside. So this is -2 times 7 plus 5 over 7. It's -14 plus 5 over 7. Notice that we've got these parentheses around this whole piece, which means this is -19/7. Now, -19/7 can be written that way. It can be written that way. It can be written even this way. These all mean the same thing. However we do it, this is our answer, -19/7. Let's give you a moment to do negative, make you write the parentheses in, negative 3 4/5. Go ahead and figure that one out. Either pause it or write it down, save it for later. And example 7 is 2/8. Now I said we were taking mixed numbers and putting these into improper fractions. This isn't quite a mixed number, but think about what would happen if you tried it anyway. What number could you put in front of the 2/8 to represent the number of wholes? And then run it through the machinery and see what you get out. You can now work on the worksheet for page 81.